Hi, everybody coming in. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Joy.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I am well. Thank you so much for your email.
hmm
Amazing. Um, Hi, Andrea. Hi, Dree. Hi, Fatu. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Shadiz. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing your names correctly. If you please tell me in the chat what city and country you're representing here today, that will be amazing. Oh, Brooklyn. Amazing. Shadiz. I love that so much. Lisa is in the US. Andrea is in Phoenix, Arizona. Ah, Drew is in Louisville. Wow. Kentucky. Sarah is in Kentucky. Fatu is in Texas. Yes. Amazing. Okay. I also want to ask, do you have any ideas on the kind of business you want to launch? Or have you launched already? Fatu says no, that's okay. That's why you're here. Sarah says bakery. Okay. So, Sarah, when you say bakery, are you saying like a physical store where you sell baked goods? Okay. Lisa says yes. Just looking to see if I'd want to own my own business. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Amazing. Physical store. I went to culinary school. Cool. There is no pressure to be on camera, Lisa, because this session is being recorded and the replay will be available on my YouTube channel. So there is no pressure to be on camera. I strongly recommend that um, everyone, you are active in the chat. That's how you get the most out of today's session. So be active in the chat because I'm going to ask you a series of questions to help you dial in whether starting a business is right for you and then deciding what kind of business you want to start. Okay. Shadi says, yes, I'm in the process of fleshing it out. As far as seeking grants and sponsors and donations, I've already got the LLC and two EINs portion secured. Amazing. I'm building a non-clinical organization. Concentration is youth. I love that. Sounds like you're mission driven, mission focused. Because when you say concentration youth, in my head, I'm like, that's impact, right? You're impacting the community. Um, Lisa says, I'm moving to Chicago in a month. Okay, okay. Amazing. Super duper cool. Okay, we are at time, so we are going to start. Welcome everybody to today's session. I am super duper excited to be hosting today's workshop. And okay, I'm gonna keep my eye on the chat because I'm gonna be asking you questions as we go. So I'm gonna pull the chats to my other screen. Okay, so beginning from last year, I think the layoffs started. Many of the people I know, is my friends, my family, lost their jobs, right? And I feel like so many people are in that space where they are asking themselves, should I keep applying to jobs or is this time for me to see what's out there from a point of view of running a business? Okay. And so that's when I decided to host these workshops because surprise, surprise, 3 years ago, that was the spot I was in. I was kind of trying to decide whether to go back into the office because we had just come out of COVID at the time, and my daughter was 2 years old. And I'm like, do I really want to go back into the office when I have this amazing human being that God has blessed me with that I want to take care of? So if you are in that space, welcome. Yeah, my company's laying us off this Friday. Oh my goodness. Sarah says, I'm not gonna say her full name, but she just said in the chat that her company is laying them off this Friday. Now, Sarah, you can see that as either good news or bad news or a mix of both. Okay, so hopefully at the end of today's class, you have some excitement about your future and how you can take, I want to say, take full agency of your financial future. Okay, so that's the goal. Now, before I dive into the content of today's workshop, I want you to type in the chat. How are you feeling overall? Um, about 2026. So today is the 27th. We're almost at the end of the month, January. So how are you feeling overall about 2026? Yes, great. I love that. Antonio says great. Yes, me too. Andrea says never. Yes, yes, that's a feeling. Okay. I also want you to tell me in the chat, what's your freedom number? How much do you want to be making per month for you to kind of relax a little bit? Sarah says, confident in myself, not confident in my environment. Yes, I love that. So the fact that you are confident in yourself means you have agency to change your environment, right? Okay, awesome. I love that, Sarah. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I want you to tell me your freedom number. Welcome to those of you who just joined us. I'm just asking some introductory questions in the chat. How much would you like to make per month that will make you feel like, oh, I can breathe? Yes. 100K, yes. 6K, yes. 6,000, okay. Zoom user, can you tell me if that's dollars or pounds? Andrew says 5K. Okay, Fatu says 7K. Okay. 6K. What I make now, I'm pretty comfortable. Yeah. Lisa, 8,500. Yeah. Okay. Yes. $6,000. Dre says $10,000. Yes, those are amazing numbers. So I'm gonna show you during the course of this workshop how you can make your first $10,000 in the next 60 days. So in the next 8 weeks. Okay. And first of all, I want to kind of give you some thoughts around thinking about running a business. Okay. For me personally, and what I have seen in my clients, running a business gives you better control over your financial future. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. I used to work for somebody else, right? I was in corporate for over 20, 23 years. So having a corporate job can be a secure way to live life. But there comes a time where you start to think, is there something more for me out there? Or if, like Sarah, you've been laid off or about to be laid off, maybe this is a time to like think, oh, do I want to go back to corporate or do I want to set something up for myself? Okay. So it's a very good space to be. And I love that many of you have amazing goals. You have amazing money goals and all of the amounts you've said in the chat are absolutely doable. And I'm going to show you how. Okay. So I want you to start thinking to yourself, what skills do you have that you think are transferable to somebody else? So when I say skills, I'm asking about whether the skills you've learned from your 9 to 5 job or skills you've gained just from being a human being, right? Your life experience. So I want you to tell me in the chat, what skills do you have right now that you can turn into dollars? So whether that's your 9 to 5 job or your life experience. So in a 9 to 5 job, maybe you were an accountant or a consultant. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to the chat. Antonio, I love that. Okay. Antonio says speaking, consulting, pitching, creative. Yes. I love that so much. Okay. I'm going to wait for other people. Tell me what skill you have. Andrea says life experience with trauma and mental illness. Yes. So good. Fatu says IT. Yes. Your skills as an IT consultant can be transferable where you launch your own business and you teach other people exactly what you know. Okay. Purse says customer service engineering. Okay. These are amazing. So I want you to tell me in the chat, when it comes to setting up your business, Shadi says case management, mental health, substance use. Oh my God, I love that so much. Like anything mental health is so needed right now. And there are now 2 people on this call who have experience with trauma and mental illness. So good. Okay. Sarah says chef, customer success, and now consulting corporate trainer. Okay, advertising sales, customer service, client relationship, and rapport. I love all of these so much. Okay, now I want you to tell me, when you think about launching your own business, what feeling comes to mind? How do you feel when I say, oh, you're going to launch your business next week using the skills you already have, the skills and experience you already have? Tell me what comes up for you. Feel free to unmute and speak. Like, you can keep your camera turned off, but you can unmute and speak. Okay. Oh gosh, I love this. Antonio says excitement. Yes, excitement. Andrea says freedom. Oh my gosh. Hi, Deborah. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am well. Thank you so much. So good to see you. Now, I said earlier that there is no pressure to be on camera because this session is being recorded and the replay will be available on my YouTube channel. So you don't have to be on camera. But when I run these sessions, especially for my business owners, they've actually landed clients from being seen on my YouTube channel, which is crazy, right? So there is no pressure to be on camera. Okay. Okay. So Lisa says, how am I going to pay my bills? Gosh, I love that so much. That's a very great question. And it's a very relevant question that comes up for most human beings, me included. When I was thinking of leaving my cushy corporate job in a bank, I was an IT consultant. I was working on AML trade surveillance systems, very high profile, high paying job. But when I decided I wanted to go full time, these were the kind of questions that were coming up for me. How am I going to pay my bills? So great question, Lisa. Sarah says mixed feelings, excitement, but worry about the cost. Yes, I'm going to cover all of this today. Pearl says freedom. Dre says reliability. Okay, I love all of these so much, and thank you so much for being very, very open. And I think that's how transformation happens. Okay, so here is how I want you to think about launching your own business. I want you to think about launching your business in a field you already have experience with. Now, what I have found in the past, especially with people who come to me, they want to go to a completely different niche and learn new skills, but that takes time. And because it takes time to learn, it affects your confidence, right? So when it comes to launching a business using the skills you already have, it helps if you already have experience in that field. So for example, if you wanted to launch a business in the mental health space and you were completely brand new to mental health, you're going to struggle with the identity of owning a business in mental health, right? Don't get me wrong, it is not impossible. It is possible for you to learn from scratch, but it's going to be way easier if you already have those skills. Now, when I say those skills, I mean both, well, either in your job or as a life experience. So, for example, sadly, I went through depression when I had my daughter. It was postpartum depression, and then it spiraled into clinical depression. And I have experience with how it feels to be depressed and how it feels to be anxious, right? So leaning on that experience, I can very well tomorrow launch my business as a stress and anxiety mentor. Okay. And what that means is I'm mentoring other people who are going through what I went through. Okay. So I'm going to be teaching them how I overcame the depression and anxiety, right? Using my own lens. Okay. So, for example, if I was to go down that route, and that's something I'm seriously considering, I am going to teach people or coach people on how to exercise daily as a way of managing stress, how to prioritize sleep, how to drink more water. Okay, all of the things I did in my own case, I can mentor other people. Now, I have to stress here, I'm not saying for you to become a therapist, it's completely different, right? Being a mentor is guiding people through what you've experienced as a human being. Okay. Now, when you think about AI, now we all know that AI is taking the world by storm and it's going to get even more profound as we go into next year, 2027. Can you tell me in the chat, based off your own experience, what do you think AI cannot replace? What kind of jobs do you think AI cannot replace? Can I keep my eye in the chat? Yes, Shadi says absolutely. Having lived experience is just as important. Love that. Antonio says therapy. Deborah says hospital. Yes. Andrea says healthcare. Yes. Lisa says personal client relationships and oh gosh, you just nailed it on the head, Lisa. Personal client relationship and care. First is human rights. Antonio says finance. Yes, these are amazing. And you guys are right. And I want to tell you, like as someone who owns an AI company, right? I help corporations adopt AI. I build AI agents for these corporations. I can tell you that as AI becomes more prolific, people are seeking more human connection. Okay. One area that AI can never replace humans is human to human connection. So, yes, Drew says human communication related jobs. Yes. So, anything that has to do with humans connecting, AI cannot replace. Antonio says art. So, I want you to start thinking about the future. So, when I say future, I mean 6 months to a year from now. The way AI is going, looking at the trajectory, I want you as a potential business owner, I want you to start thinking about positioning yourself in a way that AI cannot easily replace you. And the key way I have found is by mentoring others through what you've experienced. Okay, whether that's in your 9 to 5 job or in your life as a human being. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen and show you examples of clients I have coached and their niches. Okay, because very easily we tend to discount our experience, right? So if I wasn't a coach, right, and let's say I had gone through the depression I went through and the anxiety and the stress, as a regular human being, I will discount that experience. I wouldn't think that I could make money helping other people overcome their challenges with depression, anxiety, and stress. Okay, so as humans, we tend to discount our experiences, not knowing that those experiences can actually make us tens of thousands of dollars. Okay, so I want to show you examples of the clients I have coached and the niches they have so that you can start to think and relate that to your own experience. Because ultimately, as business owners, you want to create an offer that people are willing to pay for. Okay. There is no point launching a business if there's no one looking to buy that thing. Okay. So as you think about what type of business you want to launch, I want you to think about, are people paying for what I have to offer? If people are paying, then you know that you can create a business out of your experience. And I can tell you, when you do that, you can live the lifestyle you want. And I know many of you have your heart desire is to get to the point where money is no longer an object, where you're no longer thinking about paying your bills or whether you can afford your vacation, whether you can afford to retire. So I want you to think about your financial goals. So earlier, all of you put in your money goals. Many of you said 10K, $6,000, 7,000. I'm just going back to the chat. Some of you said $5,000. 8,005. So as you think about those numbers, I want you to start to think that launching your own business can, gosh, I did this and Zoom just did that as an emoji. So forgive me for that. That's so funny. Okay. So I'm gonna pull up my slides. I'm gonna share my screen and show you examples of niches that the clients I've coached are in. Okay. Now, as I go, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Okay. And can you share? Okay, so I'm gonna start with Amy Scott. Amy Scott is a weight loss coach. She struggled with weight almost all her life. In fact, all of her adult life, and she managed to lose the weight. And she created a framework where she now helps other women lose weight. She's the founder of a program called Lose It Forever, and she's using her experience to now coach other women. So that's an example of how you can use your experience of having gone through a specific thing to now help other people. Another one of my clients is Kenya Sunker. She is a very successful teacher. She earns nearly $150,000, and she was able to create a business on the side alongside her teaching job. And now she teaches other people how to do that, how to have a full-time job and still have the capacity to create a successful business. So that's her niche. Another one is Courtney. Courtney Cowie suffered from IBS and IBD, and she went like through the rabbit hole to discover why she was feeling the way she was feeling, doing research, and she found a way to heal herself naturally. And now she teaches other people how to do that. She coaches other people how to do that. Another one is Charlene Ridley. She launched her business. She's the founder of Unpause Your Dreams, and she gives corporate talks. So she goes to corporations and she gives paid workshops. And now she teaches other people how to do exactly that. She also teaches how to invest in Airbnb. Okay. Another of my clients is Emily Tanner. Emily, some of you might know her. She is the founder of Brave Widow. That's her program and that's her brand. Sadly, she lost her husband when she was still new in marriage, well, almost new in marriage, and she lost her husband. And that experience was so devastating for her. She went through that period of grief, and coming out of that grief period, she decided that her mission in the world is to help other women go through grief. Emily charges $8,000 to work one-on-one with her. So you can see how she has used her pain for purpose. Like if you see her on social media, you think she was born to be a grief coach. Okay. Another one is Dr. Leah Cunningham. She actually just had her first workshop with me last week, which was amazing. She is a U.S. Navy veteran with 3 military medals awarded for distinction and exemplary service. And she's using her experience of over 25 years to now help people overcome childhood trauma and emotional abuse. Okay, so she's using her clinical knowledge from being a nurse. She was also a nurse. She's using all of that knowledge and she's created an amazing 16-week transformational high ticket offer. And that is currently priced at $5,000 for 16 weeks of coaching with Dr. Lee. Another client I've coached is Lila Day. Lila Day was a yoga teacher and she was teaching yoga like in a physical yoga class. And then she found a way to sell out international retreats. And now she's teaching other yoga teachers how to sell out international retreats. So she's using her experience to now help people. And now she's a high ticket coach. Another one is Haley Stone. Haley Stone also lost weight, but her focus is with new moms who've had a baby recently and struggling to lose postpartum weight. So that's her niche. And now she helps other moms because that's exactly what she went through. Another set of my clients, there are 3 clinical doctors, Dr. Valerie, Dr. Lisa, and Dr. Saya. They leverage their experience as clinical doctors as well as their experience as moms. Okay, so 2 of them are moms, Dr. Valerie and Dr. Lisa. And now they're teaching other moms how to go through pregnancy and postpartum. So they are now pregnancy and postpartum moms. So see how they are weaving in their clinical experience with their lived experience as moms. And finally, the last client I want to show you is Michelle Spexer. Michelle, sadly, was in an abusive relationship. It was so terrible what she had to endure with her kids. Now she's divorced from the man. She calls him a narcissist. And now she's helping other women who are in narcissistic, abusive relationships to overcome that toxic relationship and come out the other side. So I want you to see how these women have used their lived experience and their, in some cases, their 9 to 5 experience to create amazing offers. And all of these are high ticket coaches. So I want you to start thinking, what can you mentor people on? I know earlier in the chat, you typed in an area of your business, but I want you to think, what do you think the market will pay for that you have experienced, whether that's from your 9 to 5 job or from your lived experience as a human being? Because ultimately, I want to help you see how you can convert your lived experience and your 9 to 5 experience that's in your job, how you can create a business around that. So tell me, what do you think people will willingly pay for that you already have experience in? Type in the chat, or you can unmute with your camera turned off. You can unmute and speak. Yes. Fatu says survival of domestic abuse, domestic violence. That's powerful. That's powerful. Antonio says public speaking and presenting to large audiences. That's huge. Storytelling. Yeah. That's huge. And you can actually focus on storytelling for business owners. So if you wanted to niche down, you could say, I help business owners use storytelling to land more clients. So that could be a niche. Like when I saw you said storytelling, because I know many business owners struggle with telling stories, because we know stories sell, right? Stories sell, facts tell. So that's amazing. Deborah says, marriage and breaking generational curses. Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. I think, Deborah, you were in one of my earlier classes, correct? Because I remember seeing this, marriage and breaking generational curses. So amazing. Yeah, yes, you were. Amazing. Andrea says, overcoming trauma and mental health diagnosis. Yes. Oh gosh, I love that so much. She said, I came back to listen. Okay. I love that all of you are now thinking about your lived experience or your experience from a 9 to 5 job and thinking how you can put this in the marketplace for people who people are willing to buy, right? All of the ones I've seen in the chat, for sure. People struggle with their marriages. People struggle with trauma, sadly. People struggle with mental health. So these are amazing niches that you guys have. Okay. So I want you to tell me, when you think about making your first $10,000 as a business owner in the next 60 days, what comes up for you? If I tell you you're going to make your first 10K as a business owner, launching a brand new business in the next 60 days, what comes up for you? Antonio says, tell me how. Yes, I will. I will. Okay, amazing. Okay, tell me how. Okay. Is there anyone in this room that doubts or has second thoughts about launching a business? Like, do you still feel like yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm here. So, okay. Andrea, you said yes. So when you say yes, what do you mean? You mean you're confident about launching your business, or you still have some doubts? Is there anyone in the room that still has doubts that they can launch successful businesses? Okay, yes to doubts. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Or is everybody else confident? So Andrea says yes to doubt. Is anyone else doubt? Okay, Lisa says yes to doubt. Okay. Yeah. Yes to doubt. Ashley says yes to doubt. Okay. And that is a cautious place to be. And that's why I usually recommend, Per says yes to doubt. I recommend that you start this on a part-time basis. So the next 60 days. Okay, let me ask you this. If in the next 60 days you make your first $10,000 launching your business, will that help with the doubt? Antonio said, oh, yes. Okay. That would help. Yes. If you make $10,000 in the next 60 days, so 60, yeah, Ashley says immensely. So 60 days is 8 weeks. Okay. So just 2 months. Okay. I'm going to show you how. Okay. This is how. And I want you to tell me this in the chat. Okay. Yes. Oh gosh, Lisa. Like, I love all the answers you're giving. Yes. But I also need to know I will be consistent. Yes. Okay. I'm going to tell you my path that you can use to get to your first 10K in the next 60 days. And this is how you're going to get there. You're going to host 2 workshops. Okay. And your first workshop, it's going to be free. Okay. And the goal is to give value and then invite people to come work with you. You're going to create a group program, okay, that you're going to take people through. And the goal is to have just 10 people say yes to joining your program. And you're going to price your program at just $1,000 per person for the whole 8 weeks group coaching program. So here's my question. Let's say I am now a stress and anxiety coach, right? I've dealt with depression. I have lived experience. I know exactly how I overcame the stress and anxiety and depression, and I now help people. Let's say you were on Instagram or any social media you use, and you saw a post that I was hosting a free workshop teaching people how to deal with stress and anxiety and how to be able to sleep better at night so that their lives can be more joyful. If you were someone struggling with stress and anxiety, do you think you would be tempted to attend the free workshop? Tell me in the chat. Yes, of course. Of course. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, absolutely. If someone was struggling with depression, stress, and anxiety, and they saw a post for a free workshop, yes, they would want to attend because they want to feel better. Okay. Another example is like I spoke to a lady called Linda today, and she is an amazing woman who helps people with alcohol dependency. And she is doing amazing. If Linda was to host a workshop, her niche is women over 40. Okay. If she was to host a workshop to say, I want to teach you how to, I'm going to make this up, obviously, because I don't know how alcohol dependency works. But if she was to host a workshop and she said, how to never be tempted to drink alcohol again, come learn in a free workshop how to reduce your desire for alcohol. Do you think people with alcohol dependency problems would want to attend? Absolutely. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to show you the path of using workshops to get people into your 1K program. Now, the reason I'm actually running a pilot focus group with folks on a planting. Yeah, I love that. She did. Amazing. Right? So I want you to think about this, that workshops are the fastest way to get your ideal clients into the room for free, give them value, and then invite them to come work with you. Now, I know you want to make tens of thousands of dollars per month, but at the beginning, your first 8-week program will be priced at $1,000. The reason we are pricing it so low is because ultimately you want to start getting social proof. You want to start getting testimonials. Okay. So that's why you're going to price your first 8-week group coaching program for $1,000. Okay. Now, when you think about hosting a workshop, what comes up for you? When you think about hosting a workshop and delivering a workshop, what comes up for you? Are you confident? Oh, Antonio says, will people listen? Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Ticket pricing is what I think about. All else I'm good with. Yes. Okay. That's a good point to bring up. Getting materials and creating a program, Andrea. Okay. Okay. So, Shadiz, ticket pricing is going to be free. Okay. The workshop you invite people in is going to be a free workshop. Okay. Yes. Oh my gosh. Who's going to pay to listen to what I have to say? I love this question, Lisa. Who's going to pay to listen to what I have to say? Okay. And Andreas is getting materials and creating a program. Okay. Now, these are all very valid points. Okay. But think about this. Shadi says, will they even show up? Okay. So I want to ask you a question. Do you think I started out delivering workshops this confident? When I started my business in my first workshop, do you think I was this confident to speak to people? What do you think? Yeah, Andrea says probably not. Yeah, Antonio says no, mom. Yeah, absolutely. The answer is categorically no. I was shaking. I was afraid. I'm like, who's gonna show up? Nobody's going to understand how I speak. English is my second language. English is not my first language. Who's going to understand my accent? Oh, I have 50 pounds to lose. I don't look great on camera. Who's going to attend? I'm going to post the workshop on Instagram. Nobody's going to attend. All of those were my limiting beliefs. And I want to tell you, I wish I had started earlier. I would have made a lot more money than I'm making now. Now, I don't have any regrets because obviously my journey has been the way it is because God wanted me to go through this. But last year, my coaching business made $285,000. And that's way more than I was earning when I was in corporate, right? So I wish I had started this earlier. And the primary way I have grown my business is by hosting workshops. Okay. So I love that you have said all of those things in the chat, and I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to help you so that none of those things are limiting beliefs for you. Why? Because they were limiting beliefs for me. Okay. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Now, at the end, I'm going to stay back and answer your specific questions. But ultimately, my goal for this workshop is for you to see what's possible for you. Okay? So I'm going to go back to sharing. I'm going to move my chat screen to the other side. Okay? Okay, so the fastest path to 10K in 8 weeks, I already told you this, but just so you see it visually, you're going to launch an 8-week group coaching program. And I know one of you said, how are you going to create that program? I'm going to show you how you create the program. You're going to price it at $1,000 for the entire 8 week per person. Like I said, the goal is to collect testimonials because remember, you're launching a brand new business. Okay, so if you enroll just 10 people into your group coaching program at $1,000, that's $10,000. Okay, that's $1,000 per person. Now, the group coaching program, you're going to be coaching them just 1 hour per week. So for the entire program, it's going to be 8 hours of you being in the Zoom room with them. Okay, so I want you to start thinking how doable this is. Okay. Okay, I know one of you asked if it was going to be priced, but I recommend it's going to be a free workshop because you don't want to put a hurdle for people, right? Make it a free workshop. Let people come experience you teaching. You're going to be teaching content, and I'm going to show you how I can help you create your workshop content. I'm going to help you create the slides, okay? All of the things you put in the chat as things that will hold you back. I want to remove all of those so you see how doable this is. Okay, so the workshop is going to be completely free. You're going to deliver value, and then you're going to invite them into your group coaching program. So it's going to be with 10 people, and just that community aspect is going to be so compelling for people. Okay, so that's the workshop model. Now, here's the math. I know you already did the math. 10 people. Well, one of you put a question in the chat. The free workshop is Exactly. Yeah. This is a free workshop. Completely free. No dollars paid. Yeah. I love that, Dre. Okay, so that's 10K. I'm gonna show you. So I already gave you this example as a stress and anxiety mentor. I will host a workshop and I'm going to title the workshop How to Sleep Better at Night and Overcome Stress and Anxiety. That's going to be the title of my workshop. I'm going to come to the workshop. I'm going to give amazing value and I'm going to show you how I help you create the workshop content because I know for many of you, what to say in the workshop is a struggle. Okay. So I'm going to deliver that workshop and then I'm going to invite them to come work with me in the group coaching program. Okay, so I'm going to skip all of this because I want to get to the best part. So, what do you need to succeed to launch your workshop? You need an irresistible offer. So, many of you already put your offer in the chat, like what kind of mentorship you want to launch, but you need to make it more irresistible. Okay, so when you go back to the alcohol dependency, just telling people you're going to help them with their alcohol issues might not be irresistible enough. Okay, so you need to make your offer irresistible. And then effective promotion. You need the right people to attend your workshop. Number 3, you need a compelling workshop. Number 4, you need a signature program. And I'm so glad one of you already asked about how to create a program. I'm going to show you how I can help you. And the goal is to get people results so that at the end of 8 weeks, which is just 2 months, people give you amazing testimonials and you use those testimonials to land higher ticket clients. So remember I said, I recommend you price your group coaching program at $1,000. Once your cohort is done and you have those testimonials, you can then start charging $5,000 for one-on-one coaching or one-on-one mentorship. Okay. So the goal with the group coaching program is to get testimonials. I want to show you how I can help you. So I want you to see how I can help you in just 8 weeks to launch your program and to get your first paid clients. Okay. I'm going to show you how. We already discussed the problems that people face when it comes to launching a mentorship offer. They don't know how to turn idea into a sellable offer. They don't trust that people will actually buy. So one of you already said that, like you don't know if people will actually come to your workshop to listen to you. And then trying to figure this out, trying to market. Maybe you're starting with 0 audience, okay? Now, how about if I helped you with the program, I helped you create your program, I helped you with the marketing of your workshop, and I help you sell your workshop? How would that feel if I helped you with the program creation, I helped you with the workshop creation, I helped you with the marketing, so you don't have to worry about getting people into your workshop. All you have to do is be a guest expert. How? You're going to borrow my credibility. Now, my community is called the Next Level Women Community, and you can borrow my credibility. I've been doing this for 3 years now. You can borrow my credibility and you can be the guest expert. Okay, so for those of you who talked about domestic violence, you talked about overcoming trauma, you talked about all of the amazing things you said. How about if you were my special guest and you came as the special guest expert and you came to deliver the workshop? And after you deliver the workshop, I sell your program for you. Like I sell, because I know many of you struggle to sell. Right? I sell your offer for you in your workshop to show you how doable this is. Now, how did I come up with this? I came up with this because these were the things that people were struggling with when I told them, you can host workshops. You can host workshops, launch your business, and start serving clients as early as next week. But then they tell me, oh, I don't think I can do it. I don't have an audience. Who's going to help me with the marketing? Who's going to help me with the tech? I'm like, okay, now I see what's keeping people back. So I actually asked ChatGPT to create this for me. So this was done by ChatGPT, everyone. And I said, ChatGPT, Julie Anderson is a guest expert. She's going to speak about stress and anxiety because obviously she's been through stress and anxiety and now she can mentor other people through stress and anxiety. So imagine you being on this flyer and me being the host and you being the guest expert. How would you feel if you were the guest expert and I hosted you on my platform? Would you be like, would that calm your nerves? Would that make you feel like this is doable? Right? This is how I can help you launch your first 2 workshops. Now, when we do the 2 together, Antonio says credible. Yeah. Andrea says I will feel better. Yeah. When we do the first 2 workshops together, you're going to see how doable this is. And then you can go host your own workshop by yourself. That's the power of borrowing another person's credibility. Okay, so here's what I'm going to help you do. I'm going to help you create your workshop. I'm going to help you create the slides. Obviously, we're going to do it together, right? Because in some of your niches, I don't have experience with it. You are the guest expert, but I'm going to help you create the workshop. I'm going to help you create the slides. We're going to create the 8-week program together that you will be guiding people through. Okay, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. How do you break down an 8-week program so that people get the transformation and then they give you amazing testimonials? Right now, when people work with me, they're like emotional and they're crying and they're saying, Joy, you changed my life. All I did was create a program and give them accountability. See, you remember at the beginning of the workshop, I told you that the one thing that AI cannot replace is human-to-human connection. All I do for my clients is I give them structure and then I keep them accountable. They go do the work and they give me all the credit and they say, Joy, you changed my life. That's how powerful you can help your clients get to the promised land. When I say promised land, I'm saying your offer is taking them from point A to point B. Okay? And for your first 2 workshops, I'm going to handle all the promotion. I'm going to handle all the marketing. I'm going to handle all the tech. Okay, so you never have to worry about, oh my gosh, am I doing this right? For some people, it's going to take them 6 months to 1 year to launch their first workshop. I'm going to help you launch in as little as 2 weeks. For those of you who are ready, in as little as 2 weeks, you're going to host your first workshop. You and I together. You're going to be the guest expert. I'm going to be the host. I'm going to introduce you. You're going to give your genius, teach, and then I'm going to come back and then sell. When I say sell, I'm going to get people to sign up in your program. Okay? All right. So I'm going to move on. So you teach, I support with selling. Okay? Because I've been doing this for 3 years. I know how to sell. So don't worry about, am I going to be able to convince people to join? There's no convincing. All you're going to do is deliver value, share your story, and then invite people to your 8-week program. I'll support you with selling. I'll help you invite people into your program. I'll guide you through your first real sales conversation. And if you want, I'll provide you with scripts and frameworks. I personally do not recommend you use scripts because when you speak from your heart, that's when people connect with you. So right now, during this workshop, the only thing you see on my screen is what I am referring to. Like I don't have any script anywhere, right? And as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to bring down the slides so you go back to seeing my face again. That's how people connect. Okay, so I want you not to be worried about what do I have to say, because when you're worried about what you have to say, you're going to lose that human-to-human connection. And ultimately, your goal is to help people. So at the end of 8 weeks, what are you going to have? You're going to have a clearly defined offer. So when I say an offer, I mean a mentorship offer. Whether that's going to be leaning on your life experience or your job experience, right? It doesn't matter. And then you also have your full created 8-week program, including the frameworks, the materials, the workbooks. You're also going to host 2 workshops within 8 weeks. You're going to have real human experience. Okay, so this is the 8-week journey. I already kind of alluded to this. First 2 weeks, we're going to clarify your vision, your idea, and your offer. We're going to lay the foundation. And by week 3 to 4, you're going to host your first workshop. Weeks 5 to 6, we'll keep dialing in the workshop creation. And by week 8, you're going to host your second workshop. The goal is to host 2 workshops in the 8-week period. Okay, so right now you're like, I have an idea. I don't know what to do. How do I launch? You're afraid to market yourself. You are worried that people will not attend your workshop. I can tell you, I will get people into your workshop. So leave the marketing to me. Okay. You might be thinking, I do not have clients, but after this 8-week program, you're going to have a clear offer that sells, that attracts people. You're going to have real workshop experience. You're going to have a completed program, and you're going to have the confidence to keep growing your business. So remember, I'm going to only do the first 2 workshops with you so that you build confidence, and then you go grow your business yourself. Okay, so this is about taking action. This is not about, I'm going to keep doing market research. In my last workshop, someone said she wanted to keep doing market research. You've been doing market research for 2 years and you don't have a paid clients. This is about taking action. Okay. We're going to take action even when we are scared, even when we think we are not ready. But I can tell you, you are super duper ready. Okay. We're going to learn in real time. That's the fastest way to learn, when you're learning while taking action. No more procrastination. Now, if this is speaking to you and you're like, I think this is what I need, I want to tell you that our private onboarding calls will be completed by February 6th. And the group coaching program will start on Tuesday, February 10th at 12 noon Eastern time or 6 p.m. Eastern time, depending on whichever works for most people. Right? So my goal is to only take 10 people. I want to keep it very small because this is the first time I'm getting into your business. Like usually I coach my clients and they go take action. But for this one, I don't want people to give any more excuses about not knowing how to do the tech, not knowing how to do the marketing, not knowing how to do the selling. I'm going to handle all of those for you. I'm sure you're thinking, what's the investment to join to do this 8-week program? It's going to be only $2,500. However, as a special gift, I'm going to give everyone on this call will get $1,000 scholarship off. So if you're watching the replay, this is not going to be available. This expires midnight tonight. Okay. This is only for people who are live on the call. So if you are interested and you want my help, you want to finally launch a business that is profitable, then I want you to jump on this opportunity. Now, once this workshop is over, the replay goes to my email list tomorrow. So once the 10 spots are gone, the 10 spots are gone. I'm going to give you the coupon code to get $1,000 off. So just give me a moment. I'm going to copy. Okay, I'm going to drop it in the chat. Again, this expires 12 midnight Eastern time. Okay, please do not send me an email later to say you want extensions. This is for people who are ready to take action. Now I'm going to stop sharing and I want you to ask me any questions you have. I know I went through a lot there, but are you thinking I can do this, or are you still doubting yourself? Tell me in the chat. Feel free to unmute. What's coming up for you? What questions do you have? Oh, and while you think of questions, I'm going to drop a link to some of my client testimonials, because you might be hearing, you're like, I don't really know this girl, right? So I just dropped a link to my client testimonials. Go watch after this and see what people say about working with me. Okay. Tell me in the chat, what's coming up for you? Are you thinking you can launch your own business? Are you thinking you can host your own workshop? Are there any limiting beliefs coming up for you? Shadi is very ready. Yes, I love that with exclamation mark. Yes, very ready. Yes, you are. You're more ready than you think. Like, I wish I could just show you what's possible for you. Yes, very ready. So Shadiz, tell me, what do you think your first workshop will be about? What will be the title of your first workshop?